Choosing a health plan. Answers from Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Hello, I'm Valanda Calloway. Making sure you and your family have the right health insurance has always been a critical job. Now, with so many changes in insurance and the healthcare system, it can be an especially confusing one. We're here with some experts in the field who can help us find answers and help us ask the right questions. With me now is Michael Parkerson, representing Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina, and John McDonald, a benefits advisor from Progressive Benefits Solutions here in Raleigh. Before we begin, gentlemen, first tell us a little bit about yourselves. Michael.
Great. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here today. Really appreciate that. I've been with Blue Cross for several years and live in the Triangle with my wife and 2 daughters.
And John?
Yes, I've been in the Triangle area since '95 and have an insurance agency, Progressive Benefits Solutions, that we started in 1998. And we are consultants with in the employee benefits field.
Fantastic. Now, there was a time when you didn't choose your health plan any more than you chose your phone company, but that's all changed now. Can you give us an example of why we have so many choices and how to make the best choice for our families?
Yes, well, cost is a big issue. It used to be where employers gave you one plan. It was a one-size-fits-all. And now with the opportunity to have dual options and triple options in healthcare, employee benefits, employees have the choice to make on cost, therefore they have to become a consumer. And that's really what's changing in the marketplace today. Employees are becoming a consumer and treating healthcare as any other service that they might buy.
Now, Michael, the 2 most popular plans are the PPO plans and high deductible health plans paired with an HSA. A lot of people are turning to the HSA model to help them have more flexibility and to save some money. So how do these 2 plans work, and can you define what they mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we think of an HSA plan, it is a high deductible health plan combined with a fund. And there's several key advantages that you get with an HSA plan. So you can understand that the funds you contribute to an HSA or health savings account, so you'll hear those terms kind of used interchangeably, are you able to contribute and deduct those off your taxes?
Okay.
The second key advantage that you have is that when you have out-of-pocket costs like deductibles and coinsurance, you're actually able to pay for that on a pre-tax basis as well, out of that fund. And then lastly, and probably one of the most important things that you're able to do is that any funds that are left over in that account are actually roll over to the next year as well. So you actually own that account. And at the end of the day, because you own that, it allows you to make different decisions. It lets you become a much more active and engaged consumer.
Okay.
And so those are one of the key aspects that we find with this. Now, there's a lot of advantages behind an HSA, but there are some tax implications, so make sure you check with your tax advisor on that front.
And a PPO, what does that mean, and why is that a good choice for some people?
Certainly. A PPO is your traditional preferred provider organization. You can go to a participating doctor or a non-participating doctor, and your level of benefit varies between the two. But you don't have that fund aspect associated with that.
Okay. Now, many of us view the network as simply the list of doctors we can go and see, but there's a lot more to a network, isn't there?
Absolutely. You know, one of the things we hear from our customers the most is about how do we rein in healthcare cost? And that is one of the reasons why we created the website, letstalkcost.com, so that we can not only learn more information, but also engage in that discussion that's taken place today. The way a network fits into that is really on 3 fronts. It's quality, cost, and service. On the quality side, a network goes through an extensive credentialing process to make sure we are providing access to high-quality medical care. On the cost side, you know, the providers we contract with actually give discounted rates. So if you're going to a primary care physician, a specialist, a hospital, or a pharmacy, you're doing so at a lower cost. And then lastly, the service to the member. The providers will actually file claims for them and actually help coordinate their care. So there's lots of network options that exist in North Carolina. Members of Blue Cross have access to the largest network in the state.
John, how much of the changes that we're seeing do you think are a result of the healthcare legislation that passed last year, and how much of it is just the market evolving?
Well, the market is evolving, and people are responsible for more cost. Healthcare reform certainly has set the stage for awareness. So people are a little bit more conscious about how much things cost, actually their health behavior, getting engaged with their health plan so that they can improve their health, have their annual physicals, be engaged with their provider and questioning their provider, not to the degree that they're going to do diagnoses, but more about the actual who's paying for the service that they're getting at the time.
Before we take a break, let's look at some key terms that our viewers should know because we've been throwing out a lot of them. Michael, could you help us understand what the words premium, benefits, and providers mean?
Certainly. On the premium side, in the simplest terms, is you as a customer, the amount you pay the health plan. And so that is the one that I think everyone relates to the most. Now, what you get for that premium is the benefits. So the best way to think of a benefit is with an example. So if you have coverage that you have a $20 copay to visit a physician, and that negotiated rate is about $200, when the health plan pays that $180 difference after you pay your $20 copay, that coverage is the benefit that you actually have. And then the network of providers is really the providers that you'll go to first because you actually have lower cost sharing associated with that. So it's the hospitals and physicians and pharmacies and other providers, the healthcare professionals that you seek care from.
Okay, John, a definition of qualified high deductible health plans as well as traditional PPO plan and FSA.
Traditional PPO plan, which is a preferred provider organization, is what a lot of people are used to. It's the plans that have copays for office visits, prescription drugs, emergency room, urgent care, and also has a deductible that applies to inpatient, outpatient hospital stays or major diagnostic tests. Along with that, there is a tax fund called a flexible spending account, and people can put money into that account on a pre-tax basis and actually pay themselves back for the expenses that they've incurred with the copays and the deductible with pre-tax dollars. The qualified high deductible health plan is really what we used to have 30 years ago, and that was a comprehensive major medical plan, which means that there's a qualified high deductible health plan. It's a plan that has a high deductible of, say, $2,000, and there are no copays. There are no copays for drugs and prescriptions. Everything is thrown into the deductible bucket. And the tax fund that's associated with that is called the health savings account. The nice thing about a health savings account is when you put money in on a pre-tax basis, that money can stay there. And if you don't use it, unlike an FSA, those balances roll over to future years.
Okay, well, we will end on that point for just a moment. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll take a closer look at HSA plans and whether they may be right for you.
I'm not sure that's the case.
Well, here's what I think. Medical costs are skyrocketing because of all these extra tests the doctors run.
Well, I didn't hear you complain when my husband fixed your hernia.
Oh, Bill. Sorry.
Let's stop looking for scapegoats and start talking. We invite you to an open, honest discussion about how we can all rein in medical costs at letstalkcost.com.
Are we still on for Golf Sunday?
It's all their fault, I'm telling you.
But you're blaming ordinary people for exploding medical costs.
Yes, the ones who don't take care of themselves, like Phil.
Oh, shh. Oh, Phil. Looking good, buddy.
He did not hear me. That would be
I think he heard you.
Let's stop looking for scapegoats and start talking. We invite you to an open, honest discussion about how we can all rein in medical costs at letstalkcost.com.
See, he's a vegetarian.
Welcome back. We're talking about health insurance plans with John McDonnell of Progressive Benefit Solutions. And joining us this segment is Mark Kamek, the Director of Human Resources for Uniboard and PERCO. Welcome.
Thank you.
During our first segment, we talked briefly about an HSA model and which, alongside a high deductible health plan as well. So, Mark, can you tell us why this is, these plans are different?
Okay. I think, as you heard John say earlier, clearly there are different needs that are going to be met by these plans for our employees. For those that have young children that perhaps go to the doctors fairly frequently, perhaps many prescription drugs, the PPO plan may be more advantageous because there's always those copays to take care of those unforeseen changes. With the HSA or the high deductible plan, what we find is that sometimes that's more advantageous, especially if there were a situation where there is an unforeseen catastrophic or serious health issue.
Now, we are throwing around a lot of numbers, and people hear all these acronyms, and I'm sure a lot of myths pop up. John, which ones have you heard?
Well, when you look at a qualified high deductible health plan with an HSA, a lot of people are frightened right away by the fact that it's an upfront deductible, there are no more co-pays, and some of the things that made them comfortable that they had with their traditional PPO plan. With the HSA, essentially all it is a comprehensive major medical plan. All the same services are covered. All the same network providers are in the provider network. The only thing that an employee has to do is start to get engaged with putting money away and watching the cost, but putting money away into a health savings account, which they can draw down on as they spend towards their $2,000 in that example I gave earlier of a high deductible health plan.
And John, we talked about out-of-pocket costs. Why isn't HSA one answer to keeping those costs under control?
Well, with a qualified high deductible health plan, an HSA is the tax-free account that goes along with it. Unlike the flexible spending account is a tax-free account that goes along with a traditional PPO, there's a lot more flexibility with an HSA. You can put money in, you can start the amount of money you want in, start it, stop it, or change that amount anytime during the year without a life status change. You don't have to be married or have a child or lose a job to stop that contribution. And secondly, if you have balances, if you have $1,000 in your account, you can roll that over. Unlike the FSA, most people don't like the word use it or lose it. They understand that. So with being able to roll that over or actually taking it with you to another employer if you were to leave that employer is a tremendous amount of flexibility, and you make the choices about where you're going to spend your dollars.
Mark, are premiums for HSAs similar to traditional plans?
Actually, at our company, we see approximately a 15 to 20% decrease in the overall premiums, both that the employer pays as well as the employee with the high deductible HSA plan.
If these types of plans are so great, is there anyone left who should be using a traditional plan, Mark?
Oh, definitely. I think like any, especially with health care, and when we're talking about the health and welfare of our families and ourselves, there's never one size that fits all, and I think that's why I think people are much more educated today around what they want to provide for their families and their children. And clearly, I think we have to look at patterns that runs into play when trying to decide what is best for our employees. One other thing I'll point out, and I think many years ago when companies went from traditional defined benefit pension plans to 401k plans, which are now commonplace. During that time, there was a shift, and it was uncomfortable for employees. And so many employers put a match onto that 401k plan so that when the employee did provide dollars to that plan on a pre-tax basis, they were really getting a great return. We do the same at our company in order to help people put their toe in the water to understand that this is really a good option for some. We match some of the initial contributions that our employees make on a pre-tax basis to the health savings account.
Does that really encourage employees to participate?
Especially in the first year. This is the first year we provided it at Uniboard, and it clearly was something that was advantageous to help them really make that jump to something that they wasn't a comfortable pair of shoes before.
Right. Well, no matter what kind of health plan you choose, it pays to be an informed consumer. After the break, we'll look at ways to control your family's health costs.